All right, today's exercise is going to be to set up the front end for our listing of books with filters. And so right now, when we list all of our books, we literally just get all of our books. But if we kind of take a look at our back-end code for our listing of books, we accept some optional parameters that are referred to as query parameters, right? Remember, query parameters are up in the URL, are typically where they're found. And then based on this, we can sort and sort a book by their price or by their genre. So if we only want to show books that are a certain genre, we can filter or sort by certain keywords, or filter by keywords, sort by mix and man price. And so you kind of go through here and say, hey, this is something we did a long time ago, but we set up this match object, which is used in an aggregation pipeline in, remember there's an aggregation pipeline in MongoDB, and then there's also an aggregation pipeline in JavaScript, which is, when we're writing our node backend, same kind of deal though. And so we got this match, and then we say, hey, if there are keywords, then run this search command against those keywords. If there's a genre, let's modify our query equal to that genre. If there's a min or max price, let's modify our match with that min and max price. If there's a sort by, we've got a sort by price and sort by year kind of set up. We've got a page number and page size. So if you want to set up paging controls, notice here our page size is set to 100. I think originally I had the number 5 there, so 5 items per page, but just to show all 100 records, you could change that. And then skip and limit will say, hey, show me page number 3 or show me page number 4 and show me the records on that page. So if we want to actually set up those paging controls, here's our pipeline. Here's a debug I'm going to comment out. So here's a pipeline array, and that sets up this match and a sort and a skip and a limit operations. And then we call an aggregate function passing in that array against our book collection. And then we convert that into an array of books. Like you actually run the query right here, this toArray function. Keep in mind there are other functions here that could be more efficient than toArray. And then we return our books. Okay, so I guess I wanted to start with a review of our backend kind of briefly, that our backend is set up to do these different sorting and filtering operations. So today we're going to set up the front end to get it to work. And so to kind of just boot this up, npm start run dev, just boot up our backend. If it's always running, so I always kind of start like this and have to stop the process from running from yesterday and boot this up. And I got my command wrong again. Did the same thing yesterday. npm run start -dev. I did it the same thing yesterday. Okay. How many times? Terminate the job. Yes. Good morning. It's 8:13 in the morning. Let's run the command properly. npm run start -dev. Now we get our debug command running on 3003. And just to, incrementally take a look at this, we're going to list all books. Of course, in order to list all books, we need to log in as a user. So I'm going to boot up Postman here. And and let's log in as a user, C. Corrigan, who is a customer. And what I don't know is if customers can list all books, but let's try and list all books as a customer, which seems to be good. Okay, so here's our list, and notice we do get how many records returned here. Normally it tells me, oh, do I need to count these? Cookies, headers. Normally it says like 6 results, but let's throw in a params option and just test that out of saying keywords and Da Vinci Code. And that just gives us our one book back, right? So, you know, of course, you should test it more thoroughly, but just on a basic level, our keywords is working. And, you know, it's always kind of good to hit it with Postman to make sure the back end is operating the way you expect before you throw in a more complex front end. So this is our back end. It's up and running. Let's get into our front end code. And our front end code here is on the book list component. And kind of see the state that's not used right now. Here on use effect, use effect is hitting our list route with credentials of true and returning our books. So there's not a whole lot going on here. So what we need to do is build out a front end with a button click right on this page, you know, some form controls to allow the user to search for keywords. And so here's our books list. Well, maybe there's an additional form here. And search for books by keywords is kind of what this form is going to do. And so let's just kind of take a look at the markup as suggested. Close the div. So this is a label. The label says search. It is for this particular text box that is a class of form control. Placeholder says search for books by keywords. And of course I just want to add my Bootstrap classes, class name of form label. Okay, and let's just boot up npm run dev to boot up our front end so we can see our new text box. Maybe we only want to see this if we're logged in. Maybe that would make sense that you don't allow a user to search unless they're logged in. So noticing that this form, probably let's nest it somewhere else. So I'm going to cut that form out of there. And here's my row with my book mapping. And I'll just put the form in there. Let me kind of get this tabbed over somewhat respectably. Okay, so we're not going to see those controls unless Maybe what I could do to just make this work better for me is open this up in Firefox and try that. Okay, so now we're getting something where the book list is only being showed when we're logged in. And so, you know, anytime you're building out new features, you just want to test early and often. So let's just test that let's just do one thing at a time, right? Before we do min and max price and all this other fanciness, let's just add a button. I guess you could, look at Amazon.com and look at all the different ways you could search by keywords. But when you're searching by keywords, it's safe. You don't want to do this on a keystroke. You would probably want to do this on a button click, right? So let's just add a button. So probably another, I don't know if we want to put this in a Bootstrap class, but here's a button type of submit, button primary, keyword search. And then on this form, on submit, I would say, then we're going to call a function that we need to write. So curly's EVT. Okay. So let's write a const on form submit. A couple ways of writing this, and this was not what I had in mind. But you're going to notice what's interesting about this. If I look at my axios.get, it is appending the search query up in the query string. So I'm going to test this, and we're modifying our books with the data that comes back. So when the page loads or when you delete something, we get our use effect. And here we submit the form. We read the value of the search into a variable. We put that variable now. Okay, so this is where this goes off the rails. There is no /search. It is API books list, and I don't think I'm going to do it this way. So I'm going to delete. We're hitting that same list route, and then after this with credentials, I'm going to hit a comma here, and here we go, params colon and what is the parameter that it's looking for? It's looking for keywords. So my first param is keywords, and the value is search. So this is how I want to do this. So again, the param itself is keywords right here. That's our key, and then search. Okay, so we're passing our credentials along. We're passing the parameter or the query string through this params property, which has an object, which you can separate your things here. So we could say max price colon 10 or whatever it may be. Okay, so you can see how you just comma separate these, but we'll do one step at a time and see what breaks. Okay, so slash list with our params, set the books to response.data. Okay. Back into Firefox. Not now, don't show me that again. Okay, so I'm still logged in. Okay. So now it's working, but it doesn't come without bugs. So if I search for gold capital G, we're getting this. So let's log out, log in. Okay. Yeah. So let me go back. It's interesting. DaVinci works. Sorry?
Looks like it can't be part.
It's got to be the full thing. Yeah. So in the event where something isn't found, that's what's happening, is that we're clearing our books, and if there's no books, it's saying please log in, right? So that's what it is. So our search is failing. It's not returning any books. And because there's no books, we set the books, and therefore it's saying please log in because there's no books. So that's the bug. So now that I understand what's happening, we can go about fixing it. So if I say, you know, again, it's got to be really interesting. Home, goldfinch. So it's finding that, the goldfinch. So there might be a better way of searching. If I search for how, again, that's literally, that's how the search is working. The word how is not finding it. If you do how to code, you get how to code. And so they get the word code in there. So that's why the DaVinci Code is being returned. But it's just interesting how that works. Now, so let's kind of fix the first thing first. First things first. Okay, so do we want to set the books if there's no data? Probably not. So I'm only going to set the books if response data has an empty array, do not update the state, right? So if response data is 0, return. All right, let's check that out, right? So if response data length is 0, then we're not doing anything. Otherwise, we're setting the books to response.data. So that should handle the case where you do a search that's not returning anything. So if I search the, right, it's not doing anything. Now it's no good because, you know, this isn't great because maybe you would expect if you search for the word the and you click search, you probably want something to happen, right? It's behaving how we told it. But what's odd about our query here is that the word the doesn't return the goldfinch. That's intriguing to me. So, you know, I guess there's a couple things. Is there another way to search for keywords? I would say that, you know, based on some things that I've read in the Mongo kind of like more up to date, there is a new way. We're using this $search. We're using the $search operator, which is giving us these results. Let me show you what I'm talking about, and maybe you guys would choose to use this searching mechanism differently. Hang tight. So what I'm going to do is dive a little bit deeper into how this search is working. Again, it's working on the front end exactly the same way that it would work on Postman. So it's working the way we've coded it correctly. You know, there's no bugs, quote unquote. There's just got to be a different fix, because if I search for the word the, it's not returning the Da Vinci Code or the goldfinch. But if I search for goldfinch, it brings that. Yes, sir.
I've noticed on a few like search forms we've done in the past that it needs to match like more than 3 characters.
Is that might be it, huh? More than 3. Let's see if I type in the space. No.
Like try finding one with 4 characters.
So what's interesting about this is it looks like it wouldn't match, but you got to keep in mind it's searching all of the fields, you know. So maybe in a description or some field, there's got to be those characters. So yeah, maybe it's a number of characters. Maybe it's 3 characters.
Does it search like if it includes with the space? Does it have to be exactly that string, or does it?
I just got to do a little bit more digging. I don't know off the top of my head.
By the space?
Yeah, I don't know off the top of my head.
If
So
we're looking, I think I might have found something sort of partial. Like they're in the parameters. After keyword search, try partial : true.
after the word keywords.
Like in the parameters on the front end.
Oh, thank you. Derp. Yep, now I'm on the front end.
Yeah, do comma and then partial : true.
As in such.
Yeah, as long as like the server itself will support the partial match. But
Yeah, I don't know that it does. But so if we kind of go back here, keywords. Yeah.
no, I meant this would like be for if you wanted to just type in gold and bring up goldfinch.
Right.
That should be how you do it, at least in the front end. Because we didn't really do anything for that back end, it looks like.
Correct.
Okay.
So that's not a solution for right now unless we code the back end. So let me come back to this, is what I'm saying. Let me come back to this. Because it's working how we told it to work, and it's okay, but it certainly could be better, right? Next up, You know, our books should maybe show their prices. So let's kind of show prices so that we can make sure that our filters are working. So in our book items, we've got a book description in the body. How about a price? Sure, book author, book price. There we go. So let's show some additional fields about our books, which I think author and price should be good enough. Okay. So additionally, why don't we put a little text in front of this to say description, and let's just put this in a span. Class name of text secondary. Okay, that makes it gray. Text primary, obviously blue. Sure. Something like this. Description, author, price. Okay. Just getting some color out there. So that displays that data. Now, back in our list, let's add some fields. Max price and min price. I think those are the next things to kind of add, which are going to be like a couple of labels for min price. Min price, ID is min price, max price, label, max price, input type, close the div. Okay. Maybe let's put these do something like a call -4. Call -4. See if we can shorten those up, and then maybe something's causing these line breaks here. Let me inspect. See what element's causing a line break. Let me do, I think it might be this form group that's doing it. Get those in the same row. So it's not form group.
Mine is made a little bit different than yours, but I got rid of my form group, I was having that same problem when I fixed it. So maybe you have to get rid of all of the form groups.
Maybe all the form group, you mean even on the one above?
Or put them all inside one form group. Because that's, I just put all my parameters in, or all my.
In one.
Yeah. And all mine are on the same line now.
I'm thinking, yeah, maybe I need another row. So I'm just gonna do div class name of row. There we go, just needed the row. Okay, let's see what our council's not happy about. Some fav icon, no big deal. Where does that fav icon come in? So I'm just going to take a step back because that's always throwing errors. So I'm going to go to my front end, and this is going to be in like main or there. Oh, I already commented out a fav icon, so it's coming from somewhere else. Okay. So now we've got a couple of fields for min and max price, and when we click the same button, const min price. Now the target in this case is the form. So when you say EVT target, well, this is the form has a min price field dot value, so this is how we're reading from the min price field. Of course, same with max price. And then I can do a comma min price and max price. Since our variable identifiers are the same as the key, we can do the shorthand. Okay, so to the back end, if we get rid of our keywords, we hit it all. Here's all of our results. And let's set a minimum price of $10. We should not get DaVinci Code. If we say minimum price of $10, now, oh, equal to, so it's equal to, so I gotta say $11. So it was doing an equal. So DaVinci Code, if you say $11 and up, these are all the books that are greater than. So we trim some of our results. And so that's how it works there. Let's go here and let's just search, and there you have it. Of course, then this should work doing a multi-proctored result set there. We could search for the goldfinch and there's a min price of 11, but if I bump that up to 14, again, we have to kind of handle this case where there are no results. We're still not handling that properly, right? We're not updating our books. So here, if there's no response data length, maybe you set books to empty. Or maybe you set it back to the way to test it is, like an Amazon, like just how does Amazon actually handle this, right? Because they have the answers on how it should work. If a user searches for something that matches no data, how do you handle that? But okay, so min and max price are working. Let's bring in the genre. So let's go back to our front end. On our book item, we're not showing the genre, so let's show the genre. We don't have a quantity, so I'm just going to change this to genre. This will be genre. Okay, so now we get our genre being displayed, and that's our next field that we're going to add. Easy enough. We go back here, we add the field in our form, so label for genre. Now, yes, okay. Well, that's a lot of genres. Good, this one's a little bit different because it's a select box, not not a text box. And we only need certain genres that our backend accepts. So let's see what our genres are. So genres, fiction. So let's keep fiction. We have nonfiction. We're keeping nonfiction. We do not have fantasy. Do we have horror? Nope. Nope, nope. Romance, thriller. Okay, let's just add magical realism. And I'm gonna do the caps as such. Dystopian. Mystery. And young adult, which is right there. Okay, so that's different, but class name of form control. I want to check out Bootstrap, make sure we got the right classes on our select control. Class of form select. Form select. And then those are our options. Back to localhost. Got our drop down. And let's read genre. Now, genre.value is the ID of our select list. So presumably, I'm assuming that's going to work. And genre can be passed right here. And so, if I find mystery, we got the genre of mystery. Fiction, got the genre of fiction. I like this. This is pretty cool. Yeah. One thing I didn't test is if I select all. Okay. That, I might do this, the value of empty. So if you say all, you just kind of like leave that blank. And if I say fiction, we're working, all, there you go. Okay, next up is sort by. Whereas keywords is a filter, max and min price are a filter, genre is also a filter. Everything's been a filter up until this point. Sort by is more of, you know, just the order of the results. So again, this is going to be another drop-down list, and we're going to give some options on different ways to sort. We'll add a new row here. So there's the end of our row. Div class name of row. And sort by, what do we want to sort by? Let's look at our data. Author. We'll just do a couple. We'll do sort by author and price. So let's uncheck that. Get all of our results. Let's check sort by. And if we say author, right now, D, A, D, O, I think it is by default sorting by our author. I think that's kind of what G, H, I, J. Yeah, it must on the back end be sorting by author. Let's look at that. Remind ourselves of our back end, and if we look at our list, sort by. We support price and year. I'm intrigued why our results are coming back sorted by author. Oh, author one, there it is. Right? So we do set up a default sort. If we don't specify a sort, it is sorting by author. But we also provided two cases on our back end for sorting by price and year. Of course, you could add to this and you could sort by other fields, but those are what we have set up right now. So let's set up a price and year on our front end. So if I go sort by price, we see price of $1, $8.99, $9.99, ascending order. Okay, so let's set up price on the front end. Sort by price or what? Year? I literally just looked at this. Year. And so here's a select price and year. Close the div. Okay, so here's another drop-down list that is our sort by. And I'm going to add an option for just being an empty. Please select a sort option, and this will be empty. So the first option will be as such. And if we click search by default, nothing comes back. But we haven't implemented the rest of it, so let's implement the rest. So here's our drop-down list. First, sort by. Let's go up and read our sort. Again, this third word here, EVT target sort, comes down to the ID of our control. The ID of our select is called the select. So this is the form sort ID. sort.value, and then we pass sort in our params. Okay. And back to our front end. Now we sort by price. And not working. So good. Console. So here I'm going to console log sort and just see that it's reading this correctly. Okay, so it is. And oh, it's sort by. Look, the field is called sort by, capital B. So that means this has to be sort by colon for that to work. Now, sort by price gets our results sorting by price. Yes?
Why couldn't you just call it sort, like the const sort by? Does that make sense?
I could.
It does the same effect.
Correct. Yeah, shorthand versus key value pairs. So Tony's recommendation was change this to sort by, and problem solved. And price and year, except for we don't have the year on display, so let's display the year. Except for it's not called year, it's called publishing year, I think.
Publication year.
Thank you. Let's just show the data, and it's publication year. So copy the field name and paste it as such. And now we've got our publication year in ascending